7.5 boards and 5.5 assists per game. Since the injury, however, as you see there, with him, they were 14 and 12 without 22 and 27. Let's welcome in NBA champ Rip Hamilton. So talk about the expected return of Paul George to the Clippers, how much this can help him and what we can expect from him.
Amanda, they need him bad, especially right now. When you look at the Clippers, they did a good job so far, trying to hold on to the fort. They're still number eight seed in the playoff race right now, but they're having trouble, especially of late, losing 5 straight games. And having him back can kind of give them that type of energy that they need to kind of get back to playing like they was playing early in the season. And when Paul George comes back, what it brings to this team is now they got their closer back. They got their all-star. Not having Kawhi Leonard for the whole season and having Paul George out for 43 games. Offensively, sometimes now guys can now get back comfortable with their role. The biggest thing is, can he come back and be effective with his timing? Missing so many games and coming back so late in the season, especially when teams are really going to come at you and coming into the playoffs, you ain't going to have time to ease into the game. But having him back on the roster should give this team confidence that they can go ahead and compete. I don't know how far they can go in the playoffs, but he's a big plus to what they're trying to do out on the floor.
Let's talk about the Lakers. Look, we have waited and waited and waited and waited and waited for them to get it together. It's not happening. LeBron has another injury, this time to his ankle. They are 10th in the West there. They are now on the brink of missing the postseason entirely. How bad, Rip, is it looking for the Lakers? And if they do miss the postseason, what's the fallout from that?
Amanda, this is bad. I don't like when you look at the expectations of the Lakers at the beginning of the season, we were looking at them as a team that could contend for an NBA championship. And when you look at their roster, look at the guys that they have on there, and you look at All-Star break when they had 4 guys on the top 75 list, you expect them to be in a dogfight, especially in the Western Conference when competing for the top teams. LeBron James playing 37 minutes a game at 37 years old. We didn't expect that. We expect Anthony Davis to take the bulk of the business, take the bulk of the minutes to carry this team. So I just think that this is probably the most disappointing season that we ever seen with the Los Angeles Lakers. When we look at the talent they have on this roster, they didn't get better defensively. They still have trouble shooting the ball. Looking at their last 8 games, 6 of them are against teams that are in the top 8 of the Western Conference. So it just looks bad, especially LeBron James, ankle injury, in and out of the lineup. It just doesn't look good for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Rip, the last time I was able to talk to you about the Nets, they were getting Kyrie back full time. You said you think they can make a jump in the standings. Right now, they're 8th in the East. They're trying to stay in the top 2 spots in that play-in tournament. But down this stretch, there's not a whole lot of room for error.
It's not, especially when you look at Charlotte knocking at the door and you got Atlanta Hawks right there, too, if you got to play in a play-in. Them teams both have superstar power. We know what Atlanta Hawks can do, especially when you look at the past couple of years of seeing how Trae Young can compete in the playoffs. So I think Brooklyn, yes, I feel as though they're still one of the teams, the best teams in the league, especially if they can get Ben Simmons back. But this is a position that they just don't want to be in, knowing that, hey, if they're going to make a run in the playoffs, guys has been out a lot of games this season. So when you say, hey, you know what, you got to play 2 extra games, it really doesn't matter to them because you got KD being out multiple games this season. You got Kyrie Irving in and out of the lineup. Ben Simmons has missed majority of the season. So I just look at this team as saying that, hey, if you got to play in a play-in, you have a little margin for error. You can't come out sluggish. It's kind of like the NCAA tournament, one and you done. But if they can get through that, I think this is a team that can be reckoned with, especially in the Eastern Conference.
Rip, looking at the top of the East, it's been crazy all season. So you have the Heat right now, then you have the 76ers, the Bucks, and the Celtics all 1 game behind them. Game of the night, we're just going to claim it. Bucks at 76ers. Look, this has just been incredible with what we're seeing. I know this game is so crucial. Give us a preview for it.
Well, it should be fun, especially knowing that both teams have the aspirations of making it to the NBA Finals. And what's most important for both of these teams, knowing that they're right there tied in the Eastern Conference, is home court advantage. When it comes to late in the season in the game and you're in the series is tied 3-3, and you get that opportunity to go back home to play on your home court, that gives confidence to your ball club. So this game right here is all about home court advantage. I still believe that teams are trying to stay out of that number 1 seed just in case Brooklyn gets there. But when you're looking at these two teams fighting for the 2 and 3 seed, they're going to do everything possible to come out and try to get this game, knowing how important home court advantage is, especially when it comes to the final 4 teams in the Eastern Conference.
All right, home court advantage. Then I want your opinion. Who has the best home court advantage in the East?
I would have to say, when you look at this, especially the top 4 teams there, I would have to say the Miami Heat. And the reason why is because South Beach, I tell people all the time, when you're coming to South Beach and you're playing in a game and it's nice and sunny and you got the beach out there and you got all the tourists in town, sometimes it's hard to go to your room and just get rest. So South Beach is a major factor in the playoffs. And Miami, they're used to it. They're accustomed to it yearly around. But when teams come there, especially knowing that, hey, one, we're here for business and to play the game, but in the rearview mirror, they're still looking at Miami Beach. They're going out, hanging out, kicking it. So I would have to say the Miami Heat.
Last Miami Heat game I went to, it took me an hour and a half to get out of there because it was so crowded. Rip Hamilton, thanks so much. Taking a look at the games tonight. The game of the night, Bucks 76ers, but you do want to watch the Clippers because the probable return of Paul George. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.